Hello and welcome to the 34th episode of the RedMancunian.com Manchester United Podcast. Here's Nick.
Hello, and this week it's a case of out with the old and in with the new, as, get this, Ryan Giggs, formerly Wilson, plays his last game at Old Trafford, and James Wilson, currently Wilson, plays his first. What are the odds?
So yes, no one has mentioned that, Nick, at all.
No, I haven't heard anyone mention it. It's weird.
No, it is so odd, isn't it?
What's odd?
What? Were you paying any attention?
So I know I should know this. What is odd?
The whole James Wilson,
Ryan Wilson.
How it's completely gone under the radar. No one's picked up on it.
Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel.
What, the fact that Ryan Giggs used to be Wilson?
Yeah.
Now we've got a Wilson.
Tell you what, you
is
are,
odd.
It's
not really odd, though, is it?
You're the sharpest
no one's
knife in the drawer,
it.
you.
It's barely relevant in any way. It's not like a really obscure surname, Wilson.
But entire Radio 5 phone-in debates have been based on this subject, so let's not gloss over it.
Let's not give Ryan Giggs' dad another reason to come out the woodwork.
No, that's a fair point. Let's move on.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right. So I think everyone's more or less introduced themselves now. It's the penultimate episode of the season. If you don't know who these people are by now, then
there's no hope for you.
Yeah,
no.
Then hopefully we'll try and ship them out before the start of next season. But Nick, welcome back.
Yeah, I'm playing for my future here.
Yeah, you are. No, I think you're a safe pair of hands. We've got Anderson in the corner over there.
Anderson?
Yeah.
Right.
Been on loan.
I'm about to say I'm about 8 stone lighter than Anderson. Thank you.
Used to be.
Yeah, ouch.
And Mark, you're back with us too. I've got to kind of think of a player similarly for you now, so I'm going to go for a modern-day Steve Bruce.
What?
Wow. Wow. If anyone saw Steve Bruce recently, that's not a compliment.
You're saying I've got a dodgy nose and I've packed on a few pounds, have you?
Jesus. You've masterminded Hull City to an FA Cup final if you're looking at it in a flattering way.
Yeah, I'll take that. But I'm certainly playing for my future.
Right, so not much really to talk about now that the season's more or less over. I'm a bit dumb.
Right, well that's that then. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
I'm going through the motions.
Yeah, I'm a little bit towards done with football. But we will have a look back at Sunderland, which was great. A look back at Hull and some kind of half-hearted preview of Southampton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots to preview there.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a key matchup. Lots.
I can't believe Sky aren't showing it live.
I know.
I know. What were they thinking?
I read in the paper today that it's live on the Sci-Fi channel in America.
Interesting.
No, this is because NBC bought the rights for like $250 million or something, and they have to show all 10 games live at the same time. So they farm them all out.
Someone's getting sacked there, aren't they? Some executive is sweating in his office now, explaining that one away.
So United are on the Sci-Fi channel. So if you're in America, if you listen in America, tune into.
There's going to be people in America tuning in for all sorts of futuristic shit, and they could be watching some past-it team going through the motions.
Not anymore.
Something gone wrong there.
Not anymore. It's all about youth these days, Nick. You're out of touch.
Well, true. We'll get on to that.
We will. So, I suppose let's cast our mind back to Sunderland.
No.
It was tricky for me because I was very pissed. Corporate was great. I'm looking at you, Jay. I know
it's how you live, though. And it's how you roll, Sam. And now and again, you let me into your little world of how the other half live. Come and have a cup of tea in Hale. That's enough. Off you go.
But not in Hale Grill, though.
Yeah. Come on.
I've taken him to Hale Grill.
He does his bit. He does his bit. He gives me a taste of it, just so I can see what it's like.
Yeah, no, but lots of free alcohol and being in the ground 3 hours before kickoff does
Probably
not lead to
that game. To be fair.
Has anyone got anything they particularly would like to say about it?
Well, I sat here getting all excited about Ryan Giggs last time I was on, saying how his press conference and the win against Norwich convinced me that maybe he should be given a chance. And then that performance showed that, I know it's a bit dramatic to say one performance, but it was just back to the Moyes standard of football, and perhaps showed that, sentiment's got no place in football, and it does need someone with a bit more experience to come in and steady this ship long term.
Very convenient defeat, though, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, Tottenham lost that morning.
No, convenient for us, and the fact that we don't want to spend next September to April travelling around Eastern Europe.
B trophy.
Yeah. We could still get into that, could we not?
Yes, Spurs. I think Spurs lose on Sunday against Aston Villa.
And we win. Yeah.
Admittedly unlikely, given Villa's recent performances, but you never know. Tottenham might just try to throw it as badly as we want to.
Always a possibility.
Then again, us winning at Southampton's probably a much longer shot. So,
yeah, play for the draw just to be on the safe side.
Maybe Giggs was just doing like Wes Brown and John O'Shea a favour,
right?
Giving him a bit of Premier League football next season.
I see.
Yeah.
Maybe that is what was going on. I don't know. But it was such a poor quality game.
It was arguably worse than.
It was
certainly up there. I can't think of anything
seriously.
In terms of the home performances. I can't think of anything worse. Obviously, we had the ones against Liverpool and City, which were on a grander scale, given the opposition and how badly we got hammered. But considering, like, you think back to West Brom, you think back to Everton, Newcastle, that was as bad as any of them.
Yeah, and it was almost like a carbon copy of the Moyes thing in sort of the sense of even the substitutions didn't make a lot of sense. The tactics didn't make sense. It was flat. And then he just sort of, it was sort of almost a typical home performance under Moyes.
Do you think Giggs had said to Phil Neville that he could sub for one game?
You can have a go.
You take this one.
You
Phil.
can have a go. I'll stand up here and I'll go down to the touchline, occasionally wave my arms around and yell "Hey!" But if you want, you can set the tactics today, and that's where it.
If that was the case, it would be the first and last time he's doing that.
I read today that the day that they sacked Moyes was one of Phil Neville's hardest days in football. Yeah. I've no strong feelings about that.
I think he's pretty much the only one who felt sad about that.
Yeah.
As well as probably David Moyes, and even he was put out of his misery.
Well, Wayne Rooney.
Well, yeah, that's true. And probably Marouane Fellaini as well.
Yeah.
Do you think, though, that I heard somewhere through the grapevine that there was actually some people in the hierarchy of Old Trafford that wanted Giggs as a manager, and that performance might have changed their mind?
Well, it's highly likely that he's got the history and the sentiment, and there's obviously some people in there that think that will be the way to go, because there's a lot of fans that think that. There's surely got to be a couple of suits that think it. But
you could see Fergie and Bobby Charlton probably coming up in that way, definitely.
So it could have been a real seminal result if if it actually did make that decision for them.
It's funny, isn't it, when you think back at the course of a whole season of the ups and downs. But then, as you say, Jay, we're all buying into the hype after such a short amount of time and such, two minor events, like a press conference and one game. And then it's one game the other way, and you're like, actually, no, you probably can't do it.
Sack him, burn him at the stake.
And then we go and we beat Hull, and we're like, oh, we played youth, maybe he can.
Yeah, actually. So the Southampton game could be, the decider.
So Southampton, what's going to happen? He's going to play youth, and we're going to get dicked, and the people are going to like,
he's
ruining the kids.
He's ruining him.
He's
Get rid of him.
The kids.
Yeah, he needs to find someone else with his former surname. That's obviously the effort to success, or
another currently Wilson.
Or of his nationality.
Yes.
Tom Lawrence debut as well. We'll come on to that. Very pleasing for Nick in the studio.
Yes. And let's face it, seeing the likes of him, Jan and Zion Wilson, a massive upgrade on Nani and Young on Saturday, who seem to be having their own personal competition to see who could be the worst performer. Unfortunately for them, usurped by Michael Carrick, but it was a close one.
Ooh. So there's rumour of £5 million for Nani. I've got to say, I'd keep him around if all you can get for him is £5 million.
Well, it's daft, isn't it? Because we gave him this new contract. I'm sure we've probably paid him that much over the course of the year. We may as well just let him go, get what we could have done for him then.
I'd take the $5 million and offer him Anderson as a freebie.
I
was going to say make weight, but that's just unfair.
Keep the $5 million and take Anderson. But who's making these decisions though? Who's deciding to sell Nani?
Big Ed Woodward, I'd imagine.
Well, that worries me because he shouldn't be making those decisions.
Same as
modern football way to do it is the manager doesn't get involved.
Yeah, but if you're going to do that, then you have someone who's in the know.
Yeah, sport director or director of football. Not
sort of pulling the strings, like, maybe it's City or what they've had at Chelsea or Tottenham in the past, or even Barcelona. But you don't have a guy who's basically a marketing man deciding whether you're going to sell a player or not before a new manager arrives.
But having just heard that Nick said that although Nick does know a lot of stuff, it's not gospel, Joe.
Oh no, it's,
right?
No,
You can't,
it's speculation, but I can't
there's
see who
the
else
possibility that Nick might be wrong.
No,
maybe
not a chance.
It happens.
Maybe he's actually just phoning up Van Gaal and going like, "What do you think of Nani?"
The talk is Van Gaal put the kibosh on that, didn't he, and said he wanted to keep him around at least initially.
Yeah,
it is a valid concern about Woodward though, because you've got all this talk of him going for Cavani and stuff like that. Like it's been him pursuing him, wanting a superstar signing when we don't really need it. If that's happening, then there's concerns that go a long way beyond who's going to be appointed manager. And
you think though, was Van Gaal was in charge of Bayern Munich when we played them a few years ago?
Last time,
and Nani had a good game, didn't he?
Yeah,
a really good game, and you wonder whether that sort of sticks in his memory. Because I doubt he's watched Nani week in, week out. We haven't watched Nani week in, week out. We're United fans, so there's no chance of him seeing much of him. So you just wonder whether he's that could stick in his mind. He thinks, well, when I went to Old Trafford, he had a bit of a worlder, and Michael Carrick was awful as well. That could also stick in his mind, but it's another story. So it'd be a bit surprising.
Gibson scoring that game.
Sorry,
I'm going to want him back.
The G bomb. Yes.
But the thing with Nani is he has got something like we've seen in the past. He's produced like goals and assists, and he's got that ability. He shows it so frustratingly rarely, but it's not like he's the opposite of Young and Valencia. They're limited, but you generally know what you're getting with them. They've got
and they try hard.
Yeah, they try hard. They work hard.
Yeah,
they put a shift in. Ultimately, they're a bit rubbish.
Yeah,
they're not going to wow you. They're going to frequently frustrate you in different ways just by being so limited. But that's what they are. Nani, he frustrates you because you know what he's capable of, and he just doesn't do it very often. But someone like Van Gaal might fancy getting performances out of him on a regular basis.
The thing is, as well, now is the time for him. He's 27.
Yeah, he must be 27, 28.
It's all right when you're 24, 23, like me. You get away with it. You've got, he's still young, but now this is his sort of his peak. And if he does end up getting shipped out, then, he's not going to have many chances left at the very highest level. So you'd like to think he'd want another chance at United and to show the new manager what he's capable of, because we saw it, was it 2011, 2012, 2010 to 11.
He came back and had
when
that
he had
storm
like that,
the end of the season.
He was sort of one of our best
around
players.
that time he sort of put together over the course of a couple of seasons 2 really good sort of 6-month spells, not quite a full season, but he showed what he was capable of then. And really, I remember some great performances, like one at Arsenal for that counter-attacking Rooney goal. Sort of around then he was on fire, and it's just
the thing with Nani is though, he's
just first game where we couldn't break him down for ages, and then Nani had that shot from outside the box.
That was his Old Trafford debut, and I think maybe one of his first games at Old Trafford. Just going back a bit.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah,
well, I don't know.
so.
The one I'm thinking of was sort of 2000 and start of the last European Cup winning season.
God, doesn't time fly?
My favourite Nani memory though is against Real Madrid before he got sent off. He won a corner and he comes running over to the corner and he's geeing up the crowd and everyone's going, cheering and he's going, come on, waving his arms about. And then he delivers the worst corner I've ever seen in the history of football. He literally passes it to the first defender, who then they counter. And it just sort of sums him up in a way.
Yeah. What I've mentioned before, he cut me up coming out of Carrington. So that's my favourite Nani memory.
I was there.
You were in the car, weren't you?
In the car, yeah.
Yeah.
In his orange Chevy.
My favourite Nani
Other cars are available.
Seeing that he had a statue of himself on YouTube in his house. That's
Are we sure that wasn't just the one that was taken from outside Craven Cottage?
Mohammed Al Fayed's having a field.
Thing with Nani, though,
I was there the other day for that, funnily enough, and he took the mick out of me for being bald. Can you believe that?
I thought you were going to say something else.
No, I went to interview him in front of everyone, and he started saying I needed a wig. And I was like, cheers.
He's got a point.
Yeah, but still.
So Sunderland. No more to say about that.
Well, we touched on him a minute ago, Michael Carrick.
Oh, there is more to say. Sorry.
No,
yes,
yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to desperately get some sort of content out of this game.
Excellent.
Michael Carrick, a season of lows, and that was the worst it's got for him. Where does he go from here? Is this sort of a serious slump that he's not going to be able to get out of, or is it just...
Is it the end of his career?
Is he sort of no longer considered a long-term part of our plans? Is he going to have to be replaced rather than supplemented?
I mean, you're right, and it's almost blasphemy to criticise Michael Carrick on social media. If you do, people will bring out passing stats.
He's the most divisive player
before you can
think of, because he's got this little hardcore of people on social media who, even when he was brilliant, absolutely hate him, and they will call him a coward.
There's like people whose Twitter accounts is dedicated to him,
exactly, yeah,
and how they don't like him.
Yeah, like I_hate_Carrick.
Is that a real one?
You know, there's more to life than hating Michael Carrick.
Yeah. I know, yeah.
And there's people that adore
exactly.
him.
We'll hear nothing
well
bad
over the
against
top
him.
and compare him to Xavi.
I've always been well on the Michael Carrick bandwagon. I've always thought he's been fantastic for us.
It just seems crazy that a year ago he was pretty much our player of the year. He won what players played, didn't he, in the end? Yeah. He was right up there with Van Persie, is probably the key player last year.
He set up his Twitter account, didn't he? And
it capitalised. It was all the celebrations. Wasn't
yeah,
he? Sort of jumped
stream
on
of adulation.
Maybe that's it. Maybe he's been spending too much time on Twitter since he joined, and that's where it's all gone wrong.
That's where it's gone wrong for the rest of us.
Definitely.
Well, yes.
But I've always sort of changed my opinion of Carrick. I thought his first season, 2006-07, I thought he was great. Played a little bit further forward, didn't he, than what he's used to. Then I thought he was a little bit... I was always sort of on the fence with him a little bit up until, funnily enough, last season where I thought he was superb. And then this season, I agree with you, Nick. I think he's been poor, and I think it's almost gone unnoticed because collectively there's been so many poor performances. But he has stood out as a particularly bad one at a time when arguably we needed him most.
And a lot of people put it down to David Moyes that he was performing so badly. But I mean, obviously, we saw David Moyes isn't a factor anymore. Hallelujah. And he was still terrible on Saturday in Sunderland. So
you've got to assume Michael Carrick's been sucked into the central midfield black hole that Man United seem to generate,
gradually dragged down by the dross that surrounds him.
It's weird as well because with Carrick, I always thought the way he played, because I know he's 33 now, and I always thought the way he played that he could play into his mid-30s because he's not dead energy.
You see someone like
and I just thought he sort of stays in the similar sort of position on the pitch. Yes, he can. He can move about obviously a lot when he needs to, but he's not one of those who's sort of up and down all the time. And you just assume that maybe he's a sort of player like Scholes did, who can go into his late.
Andrea Pirlo still turning on in Italy,
And this season, it's just like I said, the collective rubbishness of everyone, or age has caught up with him, but he has been poor week in, week out by and large.
Maybe it's age, maybe it's complacency. With Fergie leaving, we said a lot of times Moyes was a big factor, but a lot of people might have just switched off whoever came in once Fergie went, and maybe he's one of those. But I mean, I'm sure he'll get another season. I doubt he'll go in the summer, but it's a big season from now because you assume at least 2 midfielders will come in, so he's going to be fighting for his place for probably, well, maybe not the first time. He had a few dodgy seasons, like you said, but certainly he's gone from being a key player to now he's desperately fighting for his future.
I think a lot depends as well on the formation, whoever the new guy settles on.
Yeah.
It seems to me that the fashionable talk seems to be Van Gaal's a 4-3-3 man.
Yeah. And the talk is those three in midfield. There's a defensive guy, a box-to-box guy, and an attacking guy, to put it really basically. So he's probably going to be competing for one position, and it's whether another defensive-type midfielder comes in, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So can we move on from Sunderland now, Nick? Is that?
Oh God!
Okay?
I mean, there's all sorts I could pick out of the game. It was one to the memory banks. But, let's move on. Time is a constraint.
It is. We've got 20 minutes so far.
Podcast gold.
Not that I'm looking at the clock. Hull.
Yeah.
Hull. Should we start with the lineup, Nick?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was not really paying attention for the afternoon. I didn't get to go to the game, so I was getting ready for work, and I got a message through to my phone. You know, when Twitter, when everyone's retweeting the hell out of something, it lets you know basically that X amount of people retweeted this. So I was like clicking it and think, what's this? And read the team, and I just thought it must have been like just complete shock seeing Lawrence and Wilson up front. Didn't see that coming at all. It was a massive surprise, but a really pleasant one. I mean, Giggs said it was a case of freshening things up after the weekend, but it seemed more of a case, something a bit more symbolic than that to me.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you pair it with his speech afterwards, where he's like, "This is a club that gives youth a chance," it was all about Giggs staking a claim, I think, for the job in the future. Whereas, I will bring you through. That is what we do. Here are two of our brightest youngsters, and Michael Keane on the bench.
And it was a great contrast to the narrative that this is sort of an aging team and past it team. You've got all these players. Vidic obviously bowing out on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Probably Giggs' last game at Old Trafford as well. You've got Rio and Evra, there's question marks, and all the talk is of it being an aging team past it, and then you've got this injection of youth that sort of counterbalance that, and it going so well for him as well. Obviously, no one could have Well, I don't know. Watching him this season, you probably would have predicted that Wilson would have scored, but to get 2 goals on his debut was fantastic.
I'll tell you what was interesting to me. I turned to Mark in the game. I was like, "Oh my God, Fellaini's won 2 headers inside the box, and he's actually we found a use for him, And I think in terms of if you frame this, looking back at like the European football that we've not been involved in, say at semi-final stage, and the kind of fashionable view of football now is, possession isn't everything anymore, and tiki-taka is on its way out. What people seem to be saying is Pep Guardiola has no plan B. He's got like the way that he wants to play, and if his team can't break down a team for whatever reason, they'll just kind of keep bashing at the door, and that kind of it is it. Fellaini, for all his faults, is a very useful plan B. If you put him at number 10 and say, right, go and disrupt some stuff, if you've tried to play the pretty football to begin with, and for whatever reason you're not breaking through, there's some value in at least having him as a change of pace.
See, for me, he should be more like a plan C or D.
Yeah,
all right.
Because there are other attractive ways of playing, and we've seen it with Dortmund, we've seen it with Madrid this season, that you can still sort of play attractive football, but be a bit more direct. You've got that other option, and then it just seems to me resorting to having Fellaini blundering around up there. I mean, he won a couple of headers in the box, which ridiculously he doesn't do often enough, considering that's pretty much all he offers.
But he's been playing so much deeper all season.
He has, yeah, and he's been misused, and he was bought to play in the wrong position. Another thing that we've hammered Moyes for quite rightly, and he was bought to play in the wrong position. And this first time he's really played where he was most effective for Everton. And Giggs said he put him there to take the pressure off Wilson, which I thought was a really good move from Giggs. Some presence there, so the defenders obviously going to be keying in on a 18-year-old youngster, so it just took the heat off him, and I thought that was quite clever. But I don't know. I thought Fellaini, aside from his 2 assists, and I thought he was still pretty poor. He just looked out of place at times. He broke down so many attacks, and it's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm guilty of sort of tying him in with Moyes again, and I just think he would benefit from moving on in the summer, and I just think writing off this move because it's just not worked out for him, and he's just always going to be tied into that Moyes era.
It's just a bit strange that, like you said, it's a plan B or a plan C or D that Moyes didn't use once.
That's particularly weird.
In all the times that he needed
he never had any faith in Fellaini. He never started him in any of the big games, especially after the initial couple of months where he played him a few times. But
the rumours go that
I was going to say, rumour has it that he didn't want him.
He's Edward Wood signing, and Moyes didn't even want Fellaini, so it was a case of he's someone that we've been linked with that is actually available at the end of this disastrous transfer window.
I always got the impression that Moyes wanted him but wasn't 100% sold on him. It was kind of a backup plan, like go for the other guys. If we don't get him, I'll have him. And then Woodward was probably the one who pushed it through for the ridiculous, as we've discussed numerous times, above the release clause and all that.
Just to get someone in.
Yeah.
Because he needed to
go
get
without buying a single player would have been
in that transfer window, because everyone was starting to point fingers, not just at Moyes. I think at that time Moyes was getting away with it. No one really blamed him because he'd obviously just come in and there was all these sort of stories going around, but Woodward was obviously getting a lot of flack, and I think that that would make sense to me that if he was pushing for it. And we saw a few games as well where, like you say, we needed a win, or we obviously need to win every game, but we were chasing the game or whatever, and he still didn't fancy using Fellaini in a role that he'd used him for at Everton.
Yeah.
So it did seem a bit strange, to say the least. But I'm with you, Nick. I thought against the Hull sort of semi-reserve Hull side as well, because there was a couple of players that they weren't playing.
Yeah.
He looked still crap.
I mean,
I'm honest.
Technically, he got 2 assists. One was like a knockdown from a corner, fair enough. That's the least you'd expect from him, really, occasionally. And the second one was a shot that he has to score, and it's like to give him an assist seems like the most generous thing in the world. Like, well done, you've managed to hit the keeper from 6 yards out, and it's fallen to your teammate. Pat on the back for you, son.
Yeah. So I don't think. I mean, you talk about it being Giggs' last game at Old Trafford, or whoever, Rio or ever, but it wouldn't be a big surprise if we didn't see Fellaini there again next season.
No.
Because I don't think anyone would be sort of shocked or even too disappointed if a new manager came in and just said, "I don't fancy her."
I think if it is Van Gaal that is to come in, I think he'll like him. He likes that kind of player, an aggressive type. He would want that.
But where's he going to play?
I don't know. I'm not Louis Van Gaal. I'm not making that decision. But I think he's the kind of aggressive player that he'd play.
I don't know. I mean, I can't see a role for him particularly in an attractive sort of team that Van Gaal would want to play. He's not going to play as the attacking of the midfield three. The box-to-box, you'd hope he would go for someone a bit more refined and defensive. We've seen he's not a defensive midfielder in any way, shape or form, really.
He could still play that defensive role more as a brute.
But he's not a brute.
He can be.
He's a brute in the fact that he'll elbow you in the face.
He's a liability as well, I think, in that defensive role. He gives the ball away so many times. He gives free kicks away so many times.
He's not a hard man. He's
just clumsy.
He'll take you out off the ball. He'll come in with a stupid tackle, but he's not going to impose himself like Roy Keane would do at his best. Like, no, well, I mean, that's the ridiculous blasphemy to even compare. You know what I mean?
Say, yeah,
people think sort of the cliched hard man that they're going to put themselves about. They're going to win tackles. He just doesn't do that. He'll niggle at people. He'll maybe occasionally he'll catch you with an elbow, but it's the lamest sort of hard man play. It's just. I just don't see what he offers a top team.
He's got to warrant a second season, though.
Do you think?
At least
Alan Partridge didn't get a second season.
He's got.
Have I got a second season?
He's got.
Give me a second series.
Is he in the Belgian side? Does he get in Belgium?
Yeah, that's the thing, though, because he does play in. Well, apparently, can't say I watch a lot of Belgium play, but he does play in that defensive midfield role, and he can't be doing too bad because they've got some decent players.
Well, if he might do something at the World Cup that impresses, that gives him a chance.
What's the minimum amount of money? Well, maybe it should be what's the maximum. What do you think we would be able to ship him out for now?
After this season, I think we'd be lucky to get half of what we paid.
Yeah.
If
I reckon 10 million to maybe
depends on who actually
14.
comes in.
That's some incredible depreciation.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal would pay top money for a player like Fellaini. I think that they're crying out for that kind of player.
I don't see it.
I don't quite
They've
think
had someone
pay
like
what we
Flamini
paid
this
for him.
season who's sort of a similarly limited.
And he doesn't even play him.
Normally
that often,
defensive midfielder.
He stopped sort of playing him towards the end of the season.
Well, he got injured a bit, didn't he?
Did he? Right, because I know he was. Yeah, he sort of.
And he doesn't
coming
fit
off the
in
bench a
with
few times.
Arsene Wenger's philosophy at all, does he? I mean, if he's to play in his best position, and we're talking about, like we saw on Tuesday, he played in that role, he's not going to play there for Arsenal, and no way Arsenal resorting to that sort of tactics, are they?
Arsene Wenger's not particularly going for his own philosophy anymore. Arsene Wenger needs a trophy, and he needs one this season. If he doesn't win that cup final, there's going to be serious questions asked of his philosophy.
I don't know. I still think he's keeping to that philosophy to the frustration of their fans. I don't think he's shifted away from that.
Yeah, I do. I think, especially in some of the big games where they've been torn a new one, it's him trying to stick to that philosophy.
Yeah.
Which is just when you need someone in there who's just going to put a foot in. He's gone, no, we'll have Rosicky and Ozil and whoever in there.
Sort of
Arteta will try and play around these midfielders who are just tearing us apart.
Ramsey.
Pep Guardiola syndrome.
He's
again,
not
isn't he?
remotely pragmatic. He
isn't.
He won't sort of go horses for courses in games like that. So I can't see where a Fellaini would fit in there at all. I think his best bet. I mean, Everton have completely changed style, obviously, since Moyes and Martinez.
They've all been sort of singing the praises of the fact he's not there anymore in a funny way. I saw an interview, I think it was Pinar or someone, who sort of said, since Fellaini left, we're now playing a different way, which in other words is saying we're now playing proper football, which isn't just hoof it up to the afro.
I mean, I guess if Moyes rocks up somewhere this summer, gets like a Newcastle job or a Villa job, they're your candidates to take him.
But could he really buy him again?
I don't see why not.
Like,
you could say, look, he never really got a chance.
Because
Moyes thinks he never really got a chance at United, so we can play him with that. Just say, it never really worked out.
But you get in the situation where, say, if Moyes buys him for 15 million, then Moyes has spent nearly 60 million quid on Fellaini.
Nicholas and
Then it comes out in the future that Moyes' brother is Fellaini's agent. And all of a sudden, there's an investigation. But I think that could be Moyes' final gift to us to buy him off us.
It's the least you could do, David.
Yeah.
I don't get the feeling that Mr. Moyes likes us too much anymore. So
my heart bleeds.
That's a conclusion you've jumped to there. So what would ever make you think that?
Well, I tell you what, we never talked about this. It really irked me when he texted Andy Mitten and said, "I want to thank all the real fans."
Yeah, that was
cringingly
obscene,
as opposed to them ones that aren't really there.
Yeah, that is
the fake ones.
Very.
It was
very bitter, very small time. I thought, up until then, I thought he'd conducted himself impeccably. He released his statement through the LMA. It said, "Thanks, obviously we've gone our separate ways." Blah blah blah. And then he'd said nothing else, and that was the way to deal with it, really. But
I think
it's just
there might be a little bit
bit
of misconstrusion in how people are perceiving what that text message actually means, though.
Okay.
So what kind of mean though? The real fans.
Sure, he makes a statement like the real fans, but you think maybe that there's people thinking like I did at the time when all of a sudden I'd see the same tweet on Twitter or the same voice on the radio saying the same old thing, and I think, is this just the same person saying the same stuff over and over again in any way possible? And made me wonder whether it was actually.
I thought it was a case of
noise out than it was.
He's not just the only one who thought this. I think I guess Andy Mitten said it himself to an extent. Like real fans, as in the people that go to the games who haven't outwardly turned on David Moyes. Even they at the end, no one shed any tears that he's gone. Well, it was just an attempt to boost his own position.
I'd egotistically class myself as a real fan, and I wanted him out.
Yeah,
I wasn't in the ground booing.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'd never do that. But I didn't want him to be the manager of my football club anymore.
Yeah,
there wasn't fake fans in Munich when the collective he's out of his depth, or in Athens. Or
I know, yeah. When we never even got a clap off him,
it's just this attempt to paint those who were really vocally against him as sort of plastic fans who don't go.
Yeah, it's just lazy.
Like
it's just a lazy sort of. Yes, you do get the odd one or two. Well, not the odd one or two. You do get a lot who sort of after the draw at home to Chelsea were baying for his blood from a laptop in Kuala Lumpur or whatever. But to say that real fans.
It's just this attempt to portray it as real fans who were giving him a chance and were content to let him stay on, and plastic fans who wanted him gone. It's just not true.
Yeah,
it was a bit cringeworthy.
Yep, definitely.
Anyway, let's talk about bad stuff. Back to the good stuff about Hull. The youngsters.
James Wilson
now isn't he our fourth top scorer or something?
Someone said that, yeah. I think
and he scored more than our entire midfield.
5 or 6 players have scored more league goals than him this season, which is a shambles. That's ridiculous.
An hour against Hull, and you're in the top 5 scorers.
I was on Twitter after the game. I got home on Tuesday night, and there was people showing clips, vines, and all this, that, and the other with all the goals. And someone's play-by-play of James Wilson's second goal said, "Just watch Fellaini's face when he lifts his head off the floor. You can see in his eyes the moment he realises that a 17-year-old lad has just scored 2 goals and Fellaini hasn't got 1."
This is what I mean. It's not like...
Isn't he 18? Pretty sure he's 18.
He is 18.
Yeah.
Mark's an abbe.
People on Twitter getting things wrong.
Yeah, first.
I know, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously...
Do you know?
I'm glad he's got his brace, and I was a bit. It's funny because Tomo said to me after he got his second, he said, "Watch it, Giggs will take him off now." And then he,
I said that to Mark.
Well,
I was like,
you
can't take him off on a debut hat trick.
I was like, at least give him 10 minutes chance.
You think it might be a bit of a grounding exercise?
Yeah,
no, I think it was pre-planned.
Too carried away.
He came off after an hour, and I think that was pre-planned because he's been carrying an injury lately.
Right.
He's been taken off around the hour mark in the last 3 or 4 reserve games or under 21 games he's played.
Like Liverpool away.
He came off after about an hour. I think he was the same against Spurs away, a couple of others recently as well. And I think he's been hobbled by an ankle injury. I think that kind of showed in his performance as well a bit. So I think that, as much as anything, it was just resting him for that. There's a big under 21 game coming up next week, the big final against Chelsea. So I think I don't think it was a case of grounding him. I don't think it was being harsh. I think it was just.
So is he the real deal then, Nick? That's what I want to know. Because I'm a bit loath to get to Kide because I thought Makeda and Terry Cook and people like that were the real deal. So
you wanted Giggs to have the job after one day.
I wanted Giggs. Giggs walked into the press conference.
It's not
and
like
I immediately decided,
yeah,
he should be the next United manager for 20 years. So I'm going to reserve judgment and bounce some more learning people like yourself. Well, you obviously watch a lot of him.
I've predicted like David Jones would make it. I thought Makeda had something, so I'm no sort of authority on it.
He's still a fan of Tom Cleverley.
So, well, give him time. One more season.
Yeah, he'll still come good.
If he keeps moving around the football pitch like he did on Tuesday, he can't go wrong.
I mean, that's the thing. That was the big thing that we said.
Yeah,
running around the outside, collecting all the balls.
Best performance in ages.
James currently Wilson. If he keeps moving, if he keeps not being static like most of our players have been this year.
Well, we were saying in the car on the way, there was a stat on Sky after the game that what's big in the game these days in terms of movement and the way certain teams are playing is like how many sprints players do, not necessarily distance covered, but sprints. And the top 3 in terms of sprints on the pitch were Wilson, Tom Lawrence, and Adnan Januzaj. And after that, there were no United players in the top 7 or 8. And that kind of showed we've seen this laboured, plodding team at times this year, and it just showed what they've brought to it. That's what we need to be building towards next year and building around.
Some of the most exciting points in that game were where Januzaj had the ball on the halfway line, like knocked it long, and then it was just like a race down
Yeah,
the wing.
great to see that.
Januzaj was
especially
brilliant.
after this.
How has he only started something like 6 of the last 24 games?
I know.
There's
I know he was
nothing
overpaid at the start of the season, but
There's nothing better than seeing a fast winger skip over a sliding tackle.
Yeah.
That is the best thing about football.
he's brilliant at drawing people in like that, flicking it past them and going. And it's just seeing him play. It is a travesty that we haven't seen more of him recently, and I guess in the sense that's been managed him. But I thought Moyes managed him particularly poorly towards the end of his time, like not even taking him to Greece.
I still think
I
still think it's a bit of a joke, the lack of protection he gets at times, though.
Yeah,
From refs. I still think he's got that stigma. Do you know what I
Jesus.
mean? Because he sort of had this reputation, didn't he? Where he got butts every week almost for diving, and then he was getting kicked and obviously the stamp.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
even before the stamp,
that's the second blatant stamp on him.
and it's ridiculous. A young talent like that who's obviously got so much to offer, and he's just not getting the most basic protection
And
from the
it's
referee.
classic English football because it's the diving that gets the focus and the stamping gets largely overlooked. And not just stamping, it's just the regular kicking he takes.
Yeah,
that
he
gets
takes a
absolutely
kicking.
taken out.
When you have the one end where people will sort of defend a certain goofy scout striker and, let him get away with murder, it seems. And then you see Januzaj getting kicked all over the place and nothing's getting done about it.
Just to depart slightly, what is this redemption story I keep hearing about?
Oh.
How has he redeemed himself in any
You
way?
cannot redeem yourself if you're not even going to show any remorse or admit any wrongdoing.
You're out of order,
in the
right?
first place.
He posed with a picture of a banana, so as far as I'm concerned, the entire racial abuse episode and the T-shirt wearing and the denying he's done anything wrong, that all goes out the window, and
In
he's
fairness,
fully redeemed.
He has gone a year without biting anyone or racially abusing
Yeah, I
someone.
think he
which
deserves
in
credit.
anyone's book
Actually,
deserves
Well,
credit.
we don't know that he hasn't racially abused anyone. He's just not been caught this time.
Well, it's just true.
I don't actually know what redemption story it is you're talking about. What?
All the
Luis
papers are saying that
Suarez.
winning these Player of the Year awards is a great story of redemption. He's turned everything around. He's rehabilitated, and it's just.
I can't wait for this summer when he puts in another transfer request to go
He's
to,
got to have a
to
clause.
Real
'Cause
Madrid.
he signed a new deal, didn't he?
Yeah.
After the summer, and I'm sure he'll have put a clause in.
Well, it'll just be a Champions League clause. They've got that.
No, he might have a fee. He might have a fee in there, a clause if someone comes in with
Even
the
if
offer.
not, if a Madrid comes in for him, then
This
you can
is
see him kicking up a fuss. This whole thing about him being a reformed character.
and
it's
then
just-
you'll see
oh.
the headlines will be, or the Liverpool fans will be saying how he was hounded out of English football. Hey, like something like Princess Di or something.
Yeah.
There's the opposition fans and the press just hounded him out
Yeah,
until he had to leave.
But I'd advocate for hounding him out of English football. No, I won't say it.
While we're on the
Let's get him in Paris. That's all I'm saying.
Scouse bastards down the road, I'm really enjoying how all their fans, sweeping generalisation, but are tailoring the expectations of the season week by week, so that they're never in danger of any kind of disappointment. It's not like, we could win the league. Oh, the league will be amazing. Oh, it looks like we're not going to win the league. Oh, yeah, well, at the start of the season, it was Europe. Europe was everything, and we're probably going to get Europe. So it's just like, well, if you're just going to constantly change the goalposts, the minute anything gets difficult for you, that's why you're Scouse.
On a related note as well, in the last couple of weeks, we've seen Suarez, Steven Gerrard, John Terry, and Ashley Cole all crying.
It's, you know what?
It's glorious.
It's pathetic. It is, and I know. I've seen Rio Ferdinand cry when England went out in 2002, I think it was, and it happens. And I'm all for shedding a tear of joy, but I think crying because you've drawn with Crystal Palace is just pathetic.
Yeah.
Robert,
It
Huth,
is, and
did
I'm
you see
sorry.
it? Robert
It
Huth
is- it's
put on Twitter.
Crying should be a 3-match ban.
Crying should be an instant free match ban. There's no place for that on a football
And
pitch.
so the mothering all the Liverpool players did for Suarez, it's just like crowding round him and Gerrard pushing the camera away.
Weird,
know what
that,
I mean?
isn't it?
It's just like a camera that he's usually
Stephen
kissing.
Gerrard didn't want a camera in his face.
Yeah,
know, yeah.
exactly.
Who
And I
would've
just
thunk
think, he's not a small child. He's a grown man blubbering because he's probably not going to win the league, and it's just ridiculous.
One more thing, talking of Suarez, I wrote a piece about Wilson for a website yesterday, which they then, because I made a purely stylistic comparison with Suarez in terms of the way Wilson likes to drop deep, get on the ball, run at people, and he's quite got that tenacity about him.
Yeah.
And they very helpfully titled the piece "The New Suarez." That got some interesting comments.
that will make no one happy.
No.
That title.
Sub-editors.
That's one way of upsetting
And
everyone.
Liverpool fans and neutrals saying, "How you're overhyping him? He scored 2 goals against Hull," and it's like, nowhere did I say he was going to be he's like the equal of Luis Suarez. And I've got United fans saying he's not a biting racist twat, and it's like, cheers guys, you stitched me right up here.
That's quality.
James Wilson does not vote UKIP.
Oh.
let's hope.
Yeah,
Let's hope no one votes UKIP. Anyway, right. Just before we move on, then, any significance to Evra not playing? I read into that he's staying.
I thought that, but I did hear something about him having a virus, so was kept away from the ground entirely. I don't know how true that was. Whether that's a cover, I don't know.
I can't see Giggs not.
Well,
unless he's on his was
I didn't even think that's a good point.
Hasn't he took an option for a 1 year extension?
Well, yeah, I was under the impression that it was his decision.
Yes,
now.
The option was his. He basically whether he wants to take it up or not.
So there's no conclusion as to whether he has taken it or not.
I read that he said he's going to decide in 2 weeks.
He said after the game, it was against the Sunderland game, I think he said, he was quite cryptic about it, certain things will come out once the season's done.
He didn't say only God knows where I will be next season. If he did, then I'm going to, never forgive him. Withdraw my support.
It was interesting that Rio got, apparently, even though Rio didn't play, that he is on his way out because the Sunderland game was his designated last game. All his kids were mascots and everything.
Yeah.
You'd think Evra would get that opportunity as well. There's no way he'd not get a send-off like Vidic got. So
exactly.
I think I can see him staying, and I'd love that person. If we get Luke Shaw and have Evra as a mentor who plays 10 games a season, absolutely brilliant.
I'm with you on that one, Nick.
How can anyone not like that? He's a huge figure in the dressing room, hugely popular with the fans. It's a no-brainer if he's happy with it.
And you don't want it to go too far. You don't want the likes of Ferdinand who gets United, Evra who gets United.
That's the thing is, it'd be a massive loss to lose all this experience, all this fondness for the club. I mean, we're talking those 4 players: Evra, Ferdinand, Vidic, and Giggs. There's probably, for people our age, 3 shoe-ins in their all-time team. One who's maybe on the fringes.
Yeah,
and it's to lose all them in one summer would be huge.
Yeah. You can see with them as well, especially with Rio and Evra, with the younger players. There's a good relationship there.
I mean, you've heard Butner saying how good Evra's been with him.
Yeah.
In recently, you can see someone like Shaw would benefit from that hugely as well. Coming into a club of United size, it's a huge step up from Southampton. So, I really hope that he's definitely staying. That'd be brilliant.
What a segue! Yeah,
yes.
Mister, taking us straight into
the nail-biting climax to our season.
Yeah, that is Southampton away.
Is it the race for 7th, or is that done?
We can. It's the race for 6th.
Tottenham lose.
Oh, right, sorry.
It's right. 7th place is safe. We've got that.
Oh, right, we've got that. Southampton can't catch us.
No.
Right.
I see what you mean now.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
This is like a mouth-watering clash between 2 absolute colossals this season.
So I heard a little rumour that Pochettino was in line for Spurs now that they can't get Van Gaal.
That would be a pretty decent appointment.
Interesting.
He's done very well.
I love Pochettino.
Do you?
I love him because when he stormed onto the pitch to remonstrate the referee, he took his interpreter with him, which I thought was absolute genius. Come on, son, come with me. We're not having this. And he stood there ranting and raving. I can't remember the referee.
Then he had to be silent.
As his interpreter was staring at him, then turns to the ref and just mimics what he'd done in English. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
There's rumours, isn't there, though, that he can speak perfectly good English.
Yeah, he just...
it's funny because Mancini was a bit like that. If you sort of, I remember doing an interview with Mancini and he was always behind his interpreter. And then I asked him about Socrates, which was obviously a question he was interested in. All of a sudden, his English was amazing. So I think there is an element of that.
You've seen that with certain managers who, when they've had questions they don't particularly want to answer, when it's been tricky, when they've had a defeat, it's always... What?
Yeah, and all of a sudden answering a different question.
Dodgy
even I've even seen Benitez do it.
That's exactly how Cantona was. Cantona didn't speak English most of the time.
I don't think he answered questions, or did he just made statements that he wanted to make, regardless of what anyone asked him?
No one was listening to most of them.
I'm going to say this.
So Southampton last year was probably my favourite away. Would you say that, Mark?
Apart from Tomo nearly breaking my leg.
Well, yeah, apart from that.
From Van Persie's hat-trick.
Yeah, absolutely mad in the away end.
Goonage. It was fun.
Yeah, it was.
I jumped up as Tomo jumped up from behind me and he landed on me. And just as Van Persie's hat-trick goal went in and he landed on my leg. And I stood back up and I'm jumping and I'm like, oh, it really hurts. And he's just, it was made all the better from seeing Van Persie's.
Well, it wasn't, was it? Because then we were 300 miles from home, and all we heard about all the way home was your leg.
and don't forget the crumbs.
I just got my new car, right?
Oh.
And I was like, don't eat in my car. Just it was a point of pride. And our mate Paul stopped at a service station, and he went in and procured some things that he perhaps forgot to run by the till. And then he gets out.
Including sausage rolls.
Yeah, he gets out when we've dropped him off at home, and it's literally like he may as well have just got it between his hands and crumbled it all over the back seat where we were sitting. And so he stands up, gets out of my car, stands up, and I look at it, and I'm like, obviously open mouthed. And he puts his hand down, like swipes a little bit of it on the seat. And was like, all better. So that's why he's been banned from all trips in my car since then.
The thing is, now we've seen sort of the two sides to Ryan Giggs' tactics. The
side that make you happy and the side that doesn't.
The side that sort of brings through a load of youngsters that tear a team apart. And then the side that tries the same old trusted formula or failed formula that Moyes went with. So last game of the season, what's he going to do? That's the question. Is he going to give sort of a fringe players a chance, or does he go with his strongest team to go out on?
Does he play himself up front to get that goal?
I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to put himself in the squad.
He'll certainly become flying on it as a penalty.
Do you reckon? I don't think he'll put himself in the squad. I think he's just going to be the manager.
I think he'll be suited and booted again.
Yeah, I just think he's going to say, you know what?
That was it, yeah.
I'm not bothered. I'm not going to go for that.
Bloody whole goalkeeper saving that free kick.
The whole ground was going, keeps, like, this doesn't matter. Just,
come on, man.
Just,
the whole game had a testimonial feel. Why did you have to go and ruin it?
Just Grobbelaar it, man.
Grobbelaar it. That allegedly, no.
I think that's
was
convicted,
proven,
wasn't it? I don't think Bruce Grobbelaar's coming after us anyway.
Yeah.
That would be all right.
Him and Hans Seggers. Getting in on the action.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen team-wise. I think
he seems to have been giving everyone a bit of a run out. So whether that will continue, I mean, I don't know if Rooney will be fit. Hopefully not. I've quite enjoyed the last few games. The last couple of games.
You know, I was thinking this on Tuesday, that if Rooney was fit, he'd have probably played him. And I just thought, we're better off without him for a little while, just to give sort of, try something different.
Just mix it up.
Because when he does play, inevitably, a lot of play goes through him. And when he's not on form, it's not been too great. The second half of this season, I don't think he's been good at all.
No, I think he's been really average.
Yeah, and, I don't think it works when he's...
As we speak, I think the players are all arriving at the Player of the Year awards, where I'm sure he'll receive his inevitable coronation as Player of the Year by the fans.
Vote
Dave.
Vote
Let's hope Payer's won it by the time this is released.
I know, he should do. He's been our only consistent player, really, hasn't he? But you never know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think he's going to go with his strongest team he can possibly muster.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the youngsters being involved again.
No,
Januzaj maybe he should be involved, but I mean, Wilson and Lawrence have got that under-21 final next Wednesday against Chelsea at Old Trafford. If people want to go, by the way.
Yeah, you can
free entry.
Text. I'm just get my phone out. I'll find out what I text. You have to text the following to 60777
under 21 final.
And just kill some dead
Tell you
air.
what,
it is. Yeah, it is.
This is the problem with Twitter and phones today.
What
Even
is?
on the podcast, people are stopping to play with the phones.
Yeah, it's all capitals under no space 2-1 space final. And then you get in free for that, which is all right. I thought this was at Stamford Bridge. Why is it not?
It was meant to be at Stamford Bridge. I think it's something to do with their pitch being relayed.
They've relayed the pitch.
So, I mean, they were meant to be at home in the semi-final against City, and they moved that to the Etihad. So
because of the Champions League, wasn't it, that one, I think?
And I think I think I heard something about their pitch being relayed. So there was talk it was either going to be Villa Park as kind of a neutral venue, which I guess they haven't been able to do, or Old Trafford. And so it should be good.
Top
chance
stuff.
to win some silverware.
Am I right in thinking we're defending champions?
We are, yeah. The only ever champions of the under-21 league, so we've got to keep that run going. Chelsea are very good, though. A lot of their team won the FA Youth Cup last week in a ridiculous final, like 7-6 on aggregate against Fulham. They won and scored 3 goals in the last 10 minutes to win that. There's a lot of really good players there. I mean, they'll never get a chance at Chelsea, obviously, but
yeah,
they've got a lot going on right below the first team level there. So it'll be a tough game, but United definitely got a chance the way they played this season. They were excellent against Liverpool at Anfield last week. So
I thought Ben Pearson was awesome. He was just like running around again, like it's like some tireless little I don't know. I don't want to say poodle, but he's got like
a terrier.
Yeah, a terrier. That'll do. Yeah, he's got like slightly shaggy hair, and he's just like constantly running around. I think he's awesome.
I was a little bit disappointed he didn't get on the bench against Hull as well. If we're going like down the giving the kids a game route, I thought the way he played merited it, but I guess there's only so many you can give a game.
Michael Keane, perhaps against Southampton.
Possibly, but then you think you've got all these defenders who are having their farewells.
Looking to
I can imagine we'll give them. I mean, Phil Jones got injured. Obviously,
Johnny Evans.
But, I mean, Evans is out for the season.
Say goodbye to him.
Jones is terrible.
Let's not go down that route if you really want to talk about blaspheming.
Yes, but Phil Jones obviously looks like he might be out, well, for the last game, if not the World Cup, with his shoulder injury that he went off with against Hull. So there's only, Shima will get on the bench again probably, and you never know, he might get a run out. That'd be nice to see. And I was thinking, just on a tangent again, it was almost a shame that Brighton made the playoffs last week, because Jesse Lingard would have been a shoe-in to come back and get on the bench or at least on the bench against Hull. I thought it'd be nice to see him get a debut as well. But he's got 2 big games coming up in the playoff semi-finals, which would be interesting to see as well.
Yeah, just on that then, fingers crossed for me, on a personal note, for Wigan coming back up, because it's such an awesome local away. Get back in that curry house. We'll have to talk Tommy back into it, though, because he was very unhappy at the cost of the poppadoms last time. Memory serves.
They charged us for the free poppadoms, didn't they?
He would the whole game. That was the game we more or less threw away the league, but all Tommy cared about was the fact that he'd paid for some poppadoms that were advertised as being free.
It's disgraceful.
But yeah. So I'm on the Wigan bandwagon.
Yeah, 3 United players involved in the playoffs. You've got Will Keane with QPR, obviously, and Nick Powell at Wigan. So hopefully Powell emerges victorious. Their top goal scorer this season as well, won their Golden Boot.
He did, yeah.
Although he's not played a lot lately, so I don't know how much he'll feature in the playoffs. He's kind of gone off the boil a bit there. But
interesting, because Will Keane was at Wigan for a bit as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had a month there, so just never really got a chance.
Never really, yeah.
I mean, it's been, again, we're going off on a massive tangent, but it's been a real shame the way his season's gone. He just hasn't got back on track after that terrible injury, and he's had 2 pretty poor loan spells, and there's talk now there's a contract dispute with United and he might leave at the end of the season, which be a real shame because he was such a huge talent.
He was on the fringe of breaking through, wasn't he?
Fergie said he was in his plans for the following season. He came on against Blackburn in that game.
I remember that Blackburn game, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, Fergie went and bought Van Persie, so how much he actually would have featured in his plans, even if he'd stayed fit, I don't know. But I mean, it's set him back so much. It was like 16, 17 months out of the game. He's not really looked the same since he came back. Admittedly, that's only sort of from getting reserve games here and there. But I hope he agrees a contract and he gets a good loan spell and can hopefully get back to somewhere near his best next season. But now Wilson's leapfrogged him. It looks like another one of that 2011 Youth Cup winning team sadly not going to make it, so they're dropping like flies.
Yeah.
I think there's only 4 of them left if Will Keane moves on, which would be not many you'd bank on to make it, which would be a real shame from that team.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, apparently taught that Pogba's trying to persuade him to go to Juventus.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm not sure I could see if he's not struggling to make it.
That's a bit of a jump.
Yeah.
To be honest,
I've chatted to Will Keane at United away games. I saw him in like the United end at City away a couple of seasons ago. He's a proper red.
Oh, it's a shame.
To chuck that in to go to Juventus, like when his brother's on the cusp of making it as well. I can't see it.
I mean, I guess it depends on how United see his future. If he's not convinced they really have him in their plans, and it makes sense if he could get a club like that a lot better than going to another British club, I guess.
And the thing is, if it doesn't work out, no one's really going to hold that against you.
No.
If you went to Juventus and it doesn't work out, whereas if you go to somewhere like Wigan, for example, and it doesn't work out.
Hardly looks bad on a CV, though, does it?
No.
2 clubs played for, Manchester United, Juventus.
I think that's daft paper speculation, though, to be honest. It just
sounds
like
a bit far-fetched.
If he's struggling to make
Juventus
United
chasing him.
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't seem like Pogba's going to be there much longer anyway, does it? If
no.
If go with him. His agent's posturing is starting again,
Pogba
isn't it?
Moving on. Surely not.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Anyway,
who'd have thought it?
Southampton. Game. Is there anything to talk about in this game?
Not really.
Nothing really to
the scouting of Luke Shaw. Everyone will be watching him, I'm sure. With
I mean, Southampton have been kind of in almost beach mode for the last month or so, haven't they? They lost at home to Cardiff. They've dropped a few points here or there. They won at Swansea last week, didn't they? I think.
Yeah, there was a last-minute goal from Lambert. Because I think there's a few there that are sort of knocking on the England door that'll have a point to prove, him being one of them.
You've got that, but then again
as well. He's a good player.
Are they going to go all out when you've got the World Cup on the doorstep and one dodgy tackle? Or
well, this is the thing, you have to sort of consider like Jones. You were just talking about him, and now
none of them are secure in the squad either. So I mean, it's like, do you really go into a 50-50 or do you back out?
I was reading on the subject of it nearly being World Cup time. I was reading that City on, I think, Monday fly to Abu Dhabi for a friendly.
Yeah.
And then the day they get back from the friendly is the first day that England squad have to report for
duty.
Hodgson
was pretty angry about it. I tried to cut a deal with them and they weren't interested. I mean,
So it's like if you.
Sorry,
if you,
when did they fly out?
Monday.
Monday, I think.
But no, if you believe Oliver Holt,
Monday?
City are all that's good about
City
football.
fly out Monday.
And then when have they got
The World Cup squad is the
The
when
World
they
Cup
get
squad,
back?
the World Cup squad's announced on Monday, isn't it? After the final games,
Right.
And so then I think the following week they join up.
So are they a City not having a parade? I take it.
I
was told they were,
Well, I think Monday is the only day that they could have it.
and they're not bothering because.
Well, I think they will. I think they will bother.
Right.
Like, traditionally, you'd have it the next day after.
I know Liverpool
usually,
have booked
wouldn't
their day, haven't they? No, they have booked today for the parade.
I know, yeah. And
Yeah.
they've put. They've got staff, haven't they, that they've recruited for crowd control. You know, so I'm sure that'll be good. Celebrate coming second.
Merseyside police were tweeting before the proposed route for the parade.
That'll just be Suarez with his individual honours waving them about on the bus. Hey.
Giving
Dirty
dirty
mate.
looks to anyone that
Yeah.
looks like they've been on holiday.
That sounds like a good note to finish on because there's literally
Yeah.
nothing to talk about. It's going to be an end of
No.
season
We're
kick.
We're going
out
to do
with
some
nothing at
predictions for
stake.
Southampton.
No one cares. No one's going to be interested. It's going to be
1-1.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, 2-1 either way.
I'm going to go 5-0 United.
Are you?
Yeah.
I reckon
Danny Welbeck scored all 5.
Right. Okay.
Remember, you heard it here first.
I'd take that.
Right.
My money's on that now.
I like it when you say you heard it here first thing because it always brings me back to that AVB tweet.
Listen, Fergie jumped the gun. If Fergie had stayed the extra season like I thought he was going to, things would have been differently. I couldn't believe you favoured it. I remember when you favoured it at the time, and then I thought, has he forgot? And then, like the day that Fergie, that Moyes got announced, like 2 minutes after it, my first mention was you retweeting that tweet. I was like, the bastard.
Yeah, that's coming back to bite you so many times.
The worst one was a tweet from a Scouse mate, I think, after we beat Arsenal, saying, there's no chance Liverpool will finish above United. You can favourite that.
Never tempt fate with suggesting somebody favourite it.
Which he did, and has come back to haunt me.
Well, the lesson there is don't have Scouse mates.
Well, yeah, actually, he's from Cambridge.
Oh, well.
So he's a typical Liverpool fan.
Scouse by choice.
Yeah,
that's
that's even
foreign
worse,
concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
So thanks everyone.
The penultimate episode of the season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We should
yeah.
say we're getting all 6 of us together
We're getting
next
the band
week,
back
aren't we?
together.
The band
Toasty
all
Mosh.
together.
So it'll be the 4. Don't bring your horrible little made in Chelsea expressions into this serious arena. But yeah, it'll be the 4 of us and Tomo and Craig to have a little season recap. I've been thinking we might do our own little awards.
Yeah, I think that's got to be done, hasn't it?
Yeah, you know, so player of the season, goal of the season, etc.
I thought you were
Manager of the
I thought
season,
you were going
gigs.
Say, like,
our
our awards.
Our awards, like quote of the season goes to Justin for you heard it here first.
Yeah, well, you know. No.
Favourite away trip? Hint, not Athens.
Well, apart from the football, it was good.
It wasn't. You were only there for about 8 hours apart from the
sorry,
football.
yeah, you spent like a week there, didn't you? You had a holiday.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, we've got that painful memories.
Stop
And
poking
on
the
that
bear.
note, we really must leave it there.
Yes, this will be released Friday 10 a.m. You can follow us at RedMancunian on Twitter. Download it via iTunes. Leave us a
I'm
review
so
and
proud of
all
him.
that stuff.
He's such a company man, isn't he?
I know, yeah. You've
He's
got
done
to
well.
plug the brand. I'm a big fan of the brand, as it's been shown all season, so you know.
Excellent. So we'll be back next week with the season recap.